The little boy in Germany who will change the automotive industry is you. Since childhood, you love to create something. This hobby evolved into your profession. You became an engineer. Your talent has no limits, and immediately after graduation, you take the position of technical director in a local company. But this is not enough. You know that you deserve more and start working with the best engineer manufacturer, Daimler-Benz. It's boring, and you accept a risky offer to build aircraft engines at a new company. It seems like an excellent opportunity to show off. You are already dreaming about how you will become famous all over the world. It will happen, but not now. The company went bankrupt after 9 months, leaving you without a job. You risked and lost everything. But you believe in luck and decide to take another chance by creating your own company. Using your authority, you got good orders. The company is working, there's money, but the engine has not been made. Friends come to your aid and quickly fixed everything. But it was too early to rejoice because your friends decided to eliminate you and take your company for themselves. And they succeeded. But in history, you remain the father of this legendary brand. You are Karl Rapp, the man who brought to the world the luxury BMW cars. Karl Friedrich Rapp was born on September 24, 1882 in Ehingen. At that time, this city was part of Switzerland. Information about his parents and childhood remains a mystery. Therefore, his biography begins in 1908. In his youth, he chose the profession of an engineer and got an appropriate education. Karl's first job was at the automobile company Zeus. It is surprising that he immediately takes the position of technical director. This happened because of his talent in engineering. Karl worked here from 1908 to 1911. An ordinary person would have continued to work in such a prestigious job, but Karl wanted more. So the guy devoted the next year of his life to technical design, collaborating with Daimler-Benz. Think about it logically. The future founder of BMW starts his career at Mercedes. It can be observed that many people, after working at Daimler-Benz, began to create their own cars. Isn't it strange? Here, Karl worked on the development of new engines. This is what he loved the most. He wasn't really interested in creating cars or other vehicles. Karl had only been working there for 1 year in such a large company because he received an offer from the aircraft manufacturer Flugwerk Deutschland. This company planned to create aircraft that needed engines. Thus, Karl Rapp got the opportunity to develop an engine and become famous independently. Such an offer was risky and, unfortunately, turned out to be unsuccessful for Karl. The company went bankrupt 9 months later. In such a short time, the engineer could create only one engine, which was never put into production. Because of this turn of events, Karl Rapp did not know what to do. It is no longer possible to return to Daimler-Benz, as there's no more jobs for him there. But he found a way out of the situation. The company he worked for went bankrupt, but production remained. He thought, why not buy it? To do this, he needs lots of money. So Karl took advantage of his well-known personality and brought in an investor, Julius Auspitzer. Thus, on October 28, 1913, Karl Rapp founded the Rapp Motorenwerke GmbH with a new partner. By a happy coincidence, the business was not far from the Gustav Auto Factory, who was a German aircraft engine manufacturer. From that moment began a short but fruitful collaboration between the two geniuses of mechanical engineering. The entrepreneur's main goal was to produce and sell engines for all types of vehicles, but the outbreak of World War I changed their plans. Karl decided to use his authority again and was able to negotiate with the authorities. The company, which was founded only a few months ago, received a massive order from the state to develop aircraft. But you remember that Karl only created engines, and here, he needed to make full-fledged innovative aircraft in a short time. Military orders allowed the company to stay afloat because the funding was significant. However, Karl did not have incredible success. The government rejected the aircraft prototypes, which 370 Rapp Motorenwerke employees worked on, calling them unreliable. To be more precise, none of his planes actually flew. Because of this, the state stopped financing the company. The company was saved, though, from bankruptcy by an order from the Austrian Ministry of Defense. Franz Josef Popp was appointed project manager, but the delighted Rapp did not even suspect that this person would soon outlive him from his own company. Karl's company needed to create 600 powerful engines. Rapp Motorenwerke received the necessary funding and development work began, but after half a year, Karl could not develop a new engine. Moreover, he didn't even have sketches. Josef Popp understood that it was necessary to solve this problem immediately and invited Max Fitz, an engineer from Daimler-Benz, to join the company. When Karl heard about this news, he was furious because he had a competitor in his own company. Josef Popp somehow convinced the company's founder to agree to this, and with the advent of Max Fitz, the factory began active work. And soon, they created an innovative 6-cylinder engine for the aircraft. Engineers from other companies and government officials admired the new development. But such success was not joyful for Karl. Josef Popp and Max Fitz began to assert that it was only thanks to them that the company existed, and Rapp's management is only hurting the company and needs to be removed. Thus, in the summer of 1917, Karl left his company. Documents indicate that the 34-year-old engineer had health problems and was physically unable to manage the company. But everyone knew it was a lie. Fritz and Popp disliked the company's founder so much that immediately after Karl's dismissal, they changed the plant's name. So on July 21st appeared Bayerische Motorenwerke GmbH, or in abbreviated form, BMW. At the time, the first BMW logo occurred, which is not much different from the modern one. It included blue and white, reflecting the colors of the Bavarian state. At the same time, this logo was reminiscent of an airplane propeller. The white parts are the blades, and the blue details are the sky. The company actively marketed its powerful BMW 3A aircraft engines, but after the end of the First World War, Germany was forbidden to create aircraft. Despite this, the company continued its work creating railway brakes and inboard engines. In 1920, Camillo Castiglione, an Italian-Austrian financier, invested in the company and gave it new life. During that period, he was the wealthiest man in Central Europe and owned over 170 companies. Thanks to Camillo, BMW became known throughout the world. Camillo also owned Gustav Otto's Bayerische Flugzeugwerke company and decided to combine these two productions. In 1922, the company moved to Oberwiesenfeld Airfield near Munich. This new headquarters will be the headquarters for the entire BMW group. Camillo Castiglione was not an engineer. He did not understand anything in development, but he knew one thing for sure. BMW will collapse if it continues to make only aircraft engines, so he started producing a completely different product. Thus, in 1923, BMW announced its first motorcycle, the R32. It was a big step for the company. The notable premiere at the Berlin Motor Show, subsequent sales, and sporting success proved that the company could not just create outstanding aircraft engines. BMW made a motorcycle design so efficient that it is still used in modern BMW motorcycles. 5 years later, BMW bought Fahrzeugfabrik Eisenach, Germany's third largest car manufacturer. At the time, the company produced Austin 7 cars under the Dixie mark. As a result, the first car sold as a BMW was the Dixie, rebranded as the BMW 315. But it wasn't until 1932 that they created their own unique car, the BMW 303. It had the smallest engine, but the car's speed reached over 100 kilometers per hour. Engineers created a design that lasted for 70 years. In just a few years, the company has created a range of sports cars, luxury cars, and even a limousine for the elite. By 1939, the BMW brand became famous in Germany and throughout Europe. It was an unexpected success. How did an aircraft engine manufacturer manage to create such cool cars? But with the beginning of the Second World War, the most difficult times awaited the company. During the war, BMW produced military materials for the German army. This was not uncommon, as most manufacturing plants and factories in Germany came under government control after the Nazi invasion of Poland. BMW devoted itself entirely to producing aircraft for the German Air Force and motorcycles for the German Army. The production of civilian cars was wholly stopped. The company produced a vast amount of equipment, more than other factories, but at what cost? In 1940, foreign workers began working at BMW, as many employees were drafted into the army. This was not enough, and 2 years later, BMW started to hire prisoners of war and prisoners from concentration camps. More than 40,000 workers in these factories worked in what are considered inhumane conditions. After the end of the Second World War, BMW production almost did not exist. All factories were dismantled and sent to the Soviet Union. To survive, BMW started producing pots, pans, and bicycles. Only in 1948, the company managed to put their first post-war motorcycle, the BMW R24, on the road. The success of this model exceeded all expectations, and almost 10,000 units were sold in the first year. Thanks to this motorcycle, the company received money and began to restore pre-war production. In 1951, BMW introduced its new car, the BMW 501. It was known for its large saloon, comfortably accommodating 6 people. The 501 was originally marketed as a luxury car, but it failed because it was incredibly expensive to produce. Despite the failure, the 501 allowed BMW to get back on track and restore the company's reputation as a leading automobile manufacturer. After that, the company had several more car models which proved unsuccessful. BMW had a considerable debt, and only a miracle could save the company. Even the new Isetta model, which was admired by the whole of Europe, did not improve the situation in the company. This microcar was incredibly popular because it was cheap and thus brought little profit. Along with financial problems, another one appeared, Daimler-Benz, which wanted to buy BMW. Thanks to caring shareholders, the deal fell through, and BMW remained independent. Moreover, the German government decided to support the company financially. Luck returned to BMW, and in 1961, they released the BMW New Class compact sedan. The whole of Europe admired the design of this car. There were so many orders that production simply could not keep up. This model marked the beginning of BMW's reputation as a leading manufacturer of sports cars. The company has been creating new models, building huge factories, and planning its further development for 10 years. And that was just the beginning. In the early 1970s, BMW production was so massive that construction began on an overseas plant in South Africa. For your information, the employees were treated politely and taken care of. Also, in 1972, subsidiaries BMW Credit and BMW Motorsport were created. In the same year, the production of the exclusive BMW 5 Series began, which is still being produced today. The BMW 3, 6, and 7 series appeared over the next 4 years. No one has ever created such high-quality cars so quickly. In the 1980s, BMW emerged as the fastest-growing car manufacturer in the world. Thanks to its line of sports cars and comfortable sedans, BMW has become the most famous brand in the world. A whole army of engineers, designers, researchers, and other specialists work here. A new stage in the company's life began in 1994, when the first company store was opened in the United States. It allowed BMW to start production in the best possible market. BMW management found many exciting things in the USA, and as a result, the company begins production of BMW X5 SUVs. The same year, a deal was made to purchase the British company Rover Group, which created cars under the Mini and Land Rover brands. But having assessed all the pros and cons, the company sold all the shares, leaving only the Mini brand for itself. With new management, Mini became a global superstar, and high demand required a 150% increase in car production. This purchase was not enough for BMW, and in 1998, they bought Rolls-Royce, which created luxury cars. At the beginning of the new millennium, the company has expanded its production and opens 3 more new plants in England, China, and Germany. Events like this only mean one thing: BMW wasn't going anywhere soon. Just imagine how intense this company is that even during the 2008 crisis, it had no financial difficulties. Following the trends, in 2013, the company released its BMW i3 electric car. People who drove this vehicle said that driving this model is a pleasure. The COVID-19 pandemic has negatively affected the company, but not as much as others. BMW sales were down 8% in 2020, but by the end of the year grew by almost 4%. Today, the company, which previously could not make a flying plane, produces 2.5 million cars a year. BMW has over 100,000 employees and a 2021 revenue of 111 billion euros. These figures are incredible, and even Mercedes has less income in production. During the war, BMW had difficulty building airplanes, cooking pots, and bicycles. However, a rocky start and a never-ending pursuit of self-improvement propelled it into the 21st century as one of the world's leading luxury car brands. You can change a lot in life, but a BMW only for a BMW. That's what the owners of these beautiful cars say. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new incredible stories about legendary brands.